Dune Awakening has just got its first big update planned for early 2026. This update has overhauled a lot of the game and added a lot of new stuff, completely overhauling the endgame, bringing in a bunch of new content, jumping into the free content of this update. If you already own the base Dune Awakening game or the Ultimate Edition, whatever, this is all the new stuff coming, which includes a complete in-game overhaul to the landsraad, which is quite exciting. They're replacing the old hand-in X materials for the bingo board, effectively, or the Superlight board. Instead, the tiles are actually going to be done by doing contracts. So they've basically added an entirely new tab to the landsraad section that is done by contracts. You will actually go out into new areas and or do certain specific things instead of just handing in or killing X. And most importantly, the reward structure is completely changed, ties into new progression systems, which we'll get onto. And they also give you personal rewards now too, which include faction rep, which they've up to the faction tier. You can now get, I believe, house level 20 or faction level 20. So that includes a bunch of new rewards in its own right as well, which is pretty exciting. You also get experience for the new specialization system, but this is basically aiming to evolve and I guess change the way the landsraad works, and I think they've done a pretty good job at that. I will say predominantly this update is more focused towards PvE than PvP. The next most important thing to bounce off what I was just talking about with the reworked landsraad is specializations. These are basically tracks that you will have that I believe involves spice as well. You'll need to use spice to contribute to this. And these will give you perks, modifiers, and things to help you on your journey. It could be adding durability, crafting cost reductions. It could give you things in return. It's basically an entirely new sort of progression system that's going to benefit your character from crafting to gathering and things like that. It's going to make things easier, make things cheaper, things like that. This also ties into another new system called augmentations. And these are basically perks that you'll add to your gear. They'll modify the weapons that you have and how they play. And I think that's pretty cool in itself. And there's a whole bunch of these different ones for different weapons. They even come in different tiers, different rarities, and different, I believe, numbers. Like there's a little bit of RNG behind it. There's a little bit of grind to it as well. And the coolest part about these augmentations is some of the crafting components you'll need to make them to put in your gear and make your weapons better is from the new dungeons or rather testing stations, I guess. And these are basically brand new testing stations that have scaling difficulty with new rewards that are found on the overland map. These are not located in the deep desert. These are not located in the HUGE Basin. They've developed and designed 5 entirely new testing stations in the overland map that have different themes. I believe they are all based on different elements. You've got like electricity, poison, fire, and things like that. I think there's one for radiation too. I can't remember what the 5th one is off the top of my head, but basically they all have different themes, different rewards, and these are scaling in difficulty. They all have bosses with actual boss health bars, which is pretty cool to see. So that's something entirely new to the game, and I'm pretty happy about that. Again, scaling difficulties, you have to work through the previous difficulty to unlock the next difficulty. I think there's 6 difficulties. This very much reminds me of Mutations from New World, which I'm quite happy to see, as even though I'm a PvP player, I do like hard and challenging PvE, and I really hope that last difficulty really makes us, put a little bit more effort into paying attention to mechanics. Again, this feeds back into the whole system. You might get landsraad contracts to do certain dungeons. You'll need certain components that can only come from these dungeons to make the new augmentations, which feeds into the new gearing upgrade system. There's even like augmentations that will increase the durability of your gear, which is quite a good one to have. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? You've got 3 new weapons, including a reworked rapier, dual daggers, which I think I showed in a clip in here. And then there's also like a new sort of fire launcher, I think it was, which is pretty interesting, that does fire damage through shields. So I can definitely imagine that being heavily used in PvP. I wonder if that does damage to vehicles. That'll be interesting to test. And on top of that, we have a bunch of quality of life changes, right? So, of course, we're getting the new Chapter 3 for the main storyline. We are getting the Raiders story quest. There's a whole bunch of new contracts, including the reworked landsraad. You will have the storage container, which I believe is actually already in, where you can actually take your cargo, like a shitload of cargo, on a carrier through the world borders now to go to the deep desert and whatnot, which is such a big change. Server merges, server transfers are coming soon. and you'll be able to pack up your entire base in a replica. I forgot the name of the tool. It's the Solido Replicator, I think. Yeah, I think that was the name. You'll be able to pack up your entire base, like how you do in Once Human, if you've ever played that game, which means it will make transferring and server merging a lot smoother, and relocating as well a lot smoother, which is pretty exciting. And I think this is just the potential I've been wanting to see out of Funcom. I'm really happy to see that they're starting to put some serious work into the bones of this game, because this game has some insane potential, and there's some very exciting teasers about some upcoming stuff that I noticed from this dev stream. When they went over the sort of the chapter 3 story stuff, you may have noticed that they were talking about a arena in Harko Village that is used in the storyline. Now, I do want to preface that this is not a PvP arena yet, but you can clearly tell that this is the foundations for a PvP arena in Harko Village, in Neo Carthage, I think it was, which is pretty exciting. I think that fits perfectly in the Dune universe. I'm assuming it's probably because they don't have the tech ready for proper PvP arenas yet, like matchmaking. If they want to do cross-server matchmaking and things like that, I'm sure they just don't have the tech ready for that, which makes sense. But the amount of content we're getting in this update is great. There's new locations just for contracts in the Overland map. I think I forgot to even mention that. There's entirely new dungeons, weapons, cosmetics, faction rep, contracts, landsraad overhaul. It's looking good. It's looking really, really good. And it's, other than the cosmetics from the Raiders DLC, it's all, or Smugglers DLC, isn't it? It's all coming for free if you own the base game already. And I think, you know, if you're waiting for something to play in January, maybe February, I'm not exactly sure when Chapter 3 comes out, but I believe it's early 2026. That's all I know, is very early 2026. It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. If you guys want to check it out, I will be streaming it when it comes out. Also provide more updates as we get closer to it. You know, it's a game that I see a lot of potential in, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. I'm very excited for this update, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.